What is up, everybody? My name is BobaTalks, and welcome to a brand... Oh, what was that? Welcome to another Gotham Season 4 video, and this one is, as promised, the one where I'm talking about what actually came out of San Diego Comic-Con on the Gotham Season 4 panel, or just the Gotham panel. And there were so many exciting things, and I didn't want to talk about all of them in my trailer breakdown, just because... I don't know, I felt like it deserved its own video, so if in case I do miss something out in this video, be sure to post it in the comments below and I'll make another video talking about the things I may have missed out. But these are, if not all of the things, they are some of the most exciting things that I managed to find out about the panel, because I wasn't there myself. So go straight into number one, guys. Butch as Solomon Grundy will have no memory of working with Penguin or hating Riddler, and in fact... he will come across Riddler first, and they will be best friends. What? I mean, I don't know if best friends is an exaggeration, but let's just wrap our head around this. Well, to be honest, Butch having no memory because he's now Solomon Grundy, I mean, it all makes kind of sense. I'm really excited to see how the whole Butch Solomon Grundy thing unfolds, how comic book accurate it will be, and how they will do it, you know, the whole Born on a Monday thing, and just all of that in general. But the fact that he's going to have no memory of working with Penguin or hating Riddler being my favorite bit, and, well, actually, you know, coming across Riddler first, and it says here them being best friends potentially, or at least getting along very, very well, is going to be amazing to see on the TV show. If there's one thing we learned from Season 3, guys, is that Butch hated Nigma for a whole bunch of reasons. Chopping off Tabitha's hand, foiling his relationship with Penguin. There's so much reason for hate to be there, but now he's not going to have any memory of that, and I guess his identity will be Solomon Grundy from now on, or at least after a little while, because that is what was really on his birth certificate, or blah, 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 I can't remember properly. But anyway, those two being best friends, and him having no memory, is just going to be really interesting to see on the show. Okay, for number two that I've got written down here, these aren't particularly ranked in any popularity, it's just what I've got written down in the order of me writing it down, is that in terms of Ra's al Ghul being fixated on Bruce being his heir, is because it's been around 2,000 years of chasing what he believes to be his heir, and like he believes that is to be Bruce, so he is sort of singularly focused on Bruce, and that is why he's going to be so fixated on him next season after his little disappearing act at the end of Season 3. He is going to be in Season 4 quite a bit. And actually, a bit on that, I mean, Alexander Siddig couldn't say too much about this, but he said Ra's will be in this, you know, he will be in the season full time for the foreseeable future until, like, he gets a knife in the back. But we all know nothing will happen to Ra's al Ghul. At least this point in time, you know, he won't get a knife in the back that will write him out of the show. I mean, if Gotham did that, it would be very bold, and that would destroy quite a bit of lore that Ra's has kind of in the future, or possible stories that happened in the time of Batman, when Bruce is quite a bit older than what he is now. So I think it's safe to say that Ra's, if he's saying that he's going to be in the season full-time for the foreseeable future, he will be almost, or if not, basically a series regular. But the reason why for the foreseeable future is not that he's going to die or anything, but he might, you know, F off again for whatever reason, but it won't be because of death. But I think he will be in the season full time. I'm kind of calling it now, because if he's at in the first half of the season, and for the first half of the season is based, this is sort of another point, but after the long Halloween arc, and then the second half is based on Batman Batman Year One, sorry, and that is obviously going to be even more Bruce Batman stuff with Ra's al Ghul. Then Ra's al Ghul will definitely be in that part, so maybe he will just literally be a series regular, who knows. But either way, something that's really cool to take out of this part of the San Diego Comic-Con panel is that Ra's has been around for 2,000 years. Normally it's a bit jumbled up, you know, several hundred years, sort of like Yoda age or something like that, but I think it's kind of cool that he's been using the Lazarus Pit for 2,000 years, and that most of that time has been about him, you know, finding an heir, you know, or wanting at least to have an edge in case anything happened to him, or if the Lazarus Pit's effects stopped working on him. And now he feels like he's finally found it. He is not going to be giving up on Bruce Wayne. And number three, guys, talking about Bruce Wayne, this is what John Stevens had to say. John Stevens is an executive producer on Gotham, if you didn't know that, but this is what he had to say about Bruce Bruce's journey in season 4 in terms of what we're going to see from him, how we can see him transform more into the Batman. I really hope the fact that they are talking about the Batman gets rid of any of those goddamn Owlman theories. But anyway, from John Stevens himself, he says in season 4, Bruce will have body armor, who will have grappling hooks, and wear a mask, but he won't be Batman. Now, he's not finished there, but he won't be Batman. That's kind of very obvious. He's far, far away from having that persona. Who knows, we might get the Bat scene, but I don't think he'll clock on to wanting to be the Batman as an identity or a symbol for a few years, possibly. But yeah, he will have grappling hooks, he will have body armor, which is insane. I honestly didn't expect, maybe the fact that they're going, I don't think any of us properly expected them to jump, hyperspace into this vigilante Bruce on the streets as soon as they already have, and maybe that is because they didn't think they were gonna, make it to season 4. But the way they ended it last season, they're kind of thinking, screw it, why not? Let's go full swing and try and really make it impressive in season 4, and that is what they are doing. So since they're gonna go the whole Batman year 1 route, why not give Bruce body armor, grappling hooks? That's what I love as well. What kind of device is Bruce gonna get? Is he gonna have it in sort of 0 year, which is my favorite Batman version of early Batman, where his grappling hooks weren't actually coming out of a gun like I've got in the background there. It was actually him swinging it with rope, grappling like that. So I wonder, I'm very curious to see. I don't expect, if they did do a grappling gun, for it to be the modern, sort of version of Bruce's grappling hook gun, but I would expect it, if they did it at all, to be a newbie one. So maybe they could do that, but I'm sort of expecting them to go with a more of an actual hooking the grapple on a piece of rope, and sort of climbing up the side of a roof or something like that. But if they did do the gun, fair enough to them. Do you think that's a bit of a stretch? Do you think they should go with an early version of the a prototype of the grappling hook gun? Maybe Lucius helps him out there, or someone like that. Or do you think it's just going to be a grappling hook on a piece of rope, like your everyday grappling hook? Because when I do really think about it, it's imagining Bruce, even with a newbie version of the grappling hook gun, shooting it into the side of a building, him just going up like that, would be a bit too hardcore for season 4. The fact he has body armor is just, fair enough with what he's going to be doing in season 4. His new mask, now I don't know if this is actually what I was talking about in my previous video. If you remember, at the end of season 3, he had that sort of black face mask going over. But what I pointed out in the season 4 trailer breakdown, if you haven't seen that, link is in the bio. Anyway, what we actually get to see, that if you pay very close attention, is that Bruce's mask, if you want to call it that, if it's still made out of a sort of fabric rather than actually a mask piece of armor like he has when he's Batman, it is really cool still. He has obviously the eye slits, because why wouldn't you? But instead of it covering the lower half of his face, it's actually going around sort of like the Batman cowl, and his nose bit is like that as well, how it's pointed sort of down with the eye slits. So it is basically a fabric version of the Batman mask without the bat ears. So that is insanely cool. I actually didn't think that was too far at all. I thought it was just kind of cool how he obviously doesn't have any idea that he's going to be Batman one day. He kind of has an idea that he wants to help out, but he doesn't have the idea of the symbol or anything yet. So why wouldn't he have this basic structure of this frame or mask, to hide himself without the bat ears? I really like that. It's really cool. It kind of mirrors his future, it's, what's the goddamn word I'm thinking of? Foreshadows his future mask. So yeah, I think that's really awesome. Let me know your opinion on that. I'll put the photo up on the screen now. This is exactly what I'm on about. As you can see, it's basically a fabric-y version of the Batman mask without the Batman ears. It's not proper armor. I could be wrong because this is a photo which isn't exactly great, but I'm just basing it upon the fact that Bruce just had, a simple face mask made out of your everyday kind of fabric, which isn't armored at all. It's just merely to protect your identity. But I just realized I have been talking so long about the mask and stuff like that, and the body armor and the grappling hook, so I didn't finish about what I wrote down. It said that he will spend a lot of time with Ra's, or Raish in this instance, and begin that transition, but we will have so many things to explore and move into the role. For David to get into so many transitions and go to some very dark places that no one has ever seen that character go before in any other interpretations. Basically, they're saying that he's going to go, Bruce Wayne is going to go into some very dark places that we haven't seen in any lore of Batman before or any interpretation of it before. But he won't make that full transition. He won't be Batman yet. But it's going to still be insanely cool to see Bruce go. Of course he will go in some very dark places. And as Ben McKenzie said in one of these video interviews I saw today, this is a prequel Batman show. You know, it is... I mean, I think they have kind of changed how it is. It is mainly about Jim Gordon. That's the synopsis of the Gotham show, if you look at it for primarily season 1. But it has become a lot more than that now. Because a lot of people kind of, even though Jim Gordon is great, a lot of people want to see the whole Bruce thing now. So anyway, going back to what I sort of briefly mentioned earlier, this is technically number 4, I've kind of lost count now, but the first half of season 4 will be inspired by The Long Halloween, while the second half will draw inspiration from Frank Miller's Batman Year One. So I've kind of already gone over this, but it's not a direct adaptation of these two story arcs at all. But it's a loose interpretation. I kind of like that. Not a direct adaptation, but loose interpretations of those storylines. This is quite good for all you guys out there who may have not read comic books. You can read The Long Halloween and Batman Year One by Frank Miller. I can't remember for the life of me. Jeff Loeb maybe for The Long Halloween. But anyway, you guys can read this. To get, I mean, obviously it won't be copy and paste onto the TV show. That is my one saying I always say about any superhero TV show. They can't copy and paste, otherwise we'll always know what's happened. But I recommend to go pick these comics up, and then you'll get a feel for what we can expect in Gotham Season 4. I'll leave some links below down in the description to exactly what I'm on about, and what you have to read if you want to sort of get an idea about what the executive producer is going to go into this season. But a long story short, this isn't really spoiler, it's just a synopsis of it. If you don't know what Long Halloween is about, it portrays Batman being confronted with a serial killer named Holiday who claims a victim once a month, and it's got a whole plethora, if that's even the right word, of like villains, but I don't think we'll necessarily see that. But I mean, obviously it's not going to be a direct adaptation, but I reckon season 4's version of it would be what we've seen in the trailer, you know, that kind of young Bruce Wayne in his vigilante gig going out, but his main guy he's going to be facing up against, or his main kind of thing, it might not even be Holiday or anything like that, but it's going to mirror how Bruce is going to probably have this one guy, instead of the usual street thugs which we saw him knock around in the trailer. He's going to have this one guy throughout probably a few episodes, or, well, as it says, the first half of the season, who keeps making him go back to him, and, you know, he keeps going back at night and thinking, you know, oh man, how am I going to get this guy? Something like that, that mirrors the Long Halloween arc. It will be kind of Bruce's first real challenge as a detective, as somebody who, you know, who actually makes him, instead of the usual street thug who's robbing a lady or something like that, where he's kind of sorted out there and then, he needs to go out back and forth, think about how he's going to defeat this guy, how he's going to find him, how he's going to put him down. And as for Batman Year One, it is just kind of very self-explanatory. It's the beginnings of Batman, and that'll be more in the second half of the season, where we will probably see more and more things like the grappling hook and maybe more better body armor, who knows, but more Batman-esque things that Bruce will develop into in the second half of this season. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Scarecrow, of course, and this is kind of some stuff I've already said, but just to reiterate and maybe a bit of more clarity, is that Scarecrow is coming back, but he will be coming back in the first episode even. Now, due to circumstances they can't really describe right now, I mean, that's fair enough because we don't want to go into spoiler town really, he will take on his father's mantle and will become the full Scarecrow within that first half of this season. It's not going to be a long-ass development. He will be full-blown Scarecrow, as we have even seen in the trailer, where he's like, but it's the Scarecrow, and then he launches the fear gas. So that is awesome to see. It's not... They're not going to drag it out. It's going to be... He's going to be in the first episode. He's going to be full-blown Scarecrow. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be awesome. And if you want a bit more discussion about Scarecrow, I will leave a couple of links in the description to some previous videos about me talking about Scarecrow in Gotham Season 4. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is kind of confusing to me. Now, Lee Tomkins is coming back. I've talked about this before. Some of you already may know, or most of you may already know, that Lee Tomkins is coming back for sure. The only thing that I've already voiced this before, but it kind of annoys me how it's been done twice now, where they do the whole thing, and it's been done on loads of other TV shows, you know, when a character might leave the show and then there's a letter, and they've done this in the TV show at the end of last season. you know, Jim reads it or said actor reads it and it's read out in the voice of that person who's leaving, and you never think they're going to come back, or at least not for a long while, especially if it's their second time like Lee Tomkins or Marina Baccarin, but she's coming back. So it's like they probably were unsure if she, you know, and whether this had anything to do with Deadpool 2, if she could come back or what was going on, but she is coming back. So I just hope, if this isn't Gotham's last season, that they don't do that again, unless she isn't goddamn coming back for a while. Even though I do love Marina Baccarin, I love Lee Tomkins' character. I didn't really like what they did with the whole virus thing, even though a lot of people liked the whole badass Lee thing. But this is interesting anyway, because this is what they had to say about Lee Tomkins' return to Gotham Season 4. Lee Tomkins is coming back, but she is a much harder and much darker Lee Tomkins. She has to deal with the fact that she was instrumental in the spread of the virus, and she has to come to grips with that, and she does it in a very unique way. Now, I think that is absolutely fair enough. She was very instrumental in that virus, and I would be feeling extremely guilty if I did what she did in that season, and was responsible, even if I was under the influence of the Alice Tetch virus, for so many people dying or so many people being infected and turning into monsters. And, you know, that will screw you up. But this is what got me in the next part. Now, I'm reading this from comicbook.com. I cannot 100% confirm, but they were doing a live recap of the panel. And this is, I'll leave the link in the description. But this is so crazy. I can't believe they said this. Or this is at least what comicbook.com is reporting. But she's going to form up a family of sorts, and it will be with Riddler, Solomon, and her. It's like, what? What? I literally have got it written down on my laptop, what? Question mark, exclamation mark. So, this kind of does coincide with what I said earlier, you know, when I was talking about Butch being Solomon Grundy, and that he's going to kind of be best friends with the Riddler, and those two are going to go around with each other. Well, it says here that she, you know, Leslie Tomkins, she is going to form up a family of sorts, and it will be with Riddler, Solomon, and her. Now, I am not going to confirm this. I was not at the San Diego Comic-Con panel, but if this is true, then wow. Like, why would Leslie, now she's not infected with the virus, and I know they said she's going to be much darker, you know, team up with the Riddler, that guy who's been on the TV for holding, you know, people hostage, or like blowing up, you know, almost blowing up buildings if it wasn't for certain people like Jim Gordon and stuff. And Leslie Tomkins is gonna team up with the Riddler and Solomon, which does make sense when those two are gonna be together in season 4. I don't know what to make of this, guys. I would love to know your thoughts. Personally, it kind of bugs me a bit because I feel like I can sense they're changing the writing. Now, I get the motive behind a darker Leslie Tomkins, because she's going to have to deal with the fact she was instrumental with the spread of the virus, and she has to come to grips with that. Fair enough. That would screw you up a bit. I've already said that. But the way she left season 3, especially from that letter, she still, you know, we didn't see her post her getting cured, apart from when she, you know, passed out on the train from, I don't know, the cure going in her bloodstream, blah, 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 blah. But from the letter, she seemed relatively chill again. You know, I can't remember exactly what the letter said, but, you know, it was read out in her voice. She seemed like she, you know, she was going away, blah, blah, blah. She seemed relatively chill again. I mean, and that's my point. Fair enough, if she returns, she's going to be a bit more darker Lee Tomkins. But you would expect her just to be a bit depressed, maybe a bit, like, screwed up of what she did. But to team up with the Riddler, and Butch, in her mind, what? Now, moving on, Barbara won't be as crazy as she was before, apparently. So, seriously, she won't be as crazy as the previous season. Now, I do have a lot of opinions about that. I definitely do believe they were going with the Harley Quinn route. They even confirmed that they were giving loads of aspects to her. But I definitely feel that they doctored a lot of things. You know, they didn't want it to come across like they were going to do Harley Quinn, even though there was so many things, like with David Mazouz, John Stevens even saying we might see her, and I completely backtracked because I think of what all you guys had to say on possibly all of our YouTube videos, or the other YouTubers' videos. There's, you know, a lot of ways of getting feedback. Maybe they watch our YouTube videos and our comment discussions and things like that. And the way people were reacting to all these articles about Harley Quinn ever since, you know, mid-season last year or before that, when everything like that was going down. But they definitely decided to go back against that. But either way, Barbara's still coming back, but they're just not going to give her that proto-Harley role. That's all I have to say about that for now. But she won't be as crazy as before. And they said supposedly initially she will be working with Raish, which is very interesting. I don't know how that's going to work. I've heard and seen comments that apparently she gets brought back by Raish, and I don't know about if anyone has a link to that, or in the description they can show me that they said that at Comic-Con, then holy shit, then send that to me. So that would make sense, maybe, as to why she'd be working with Raish, but I wouldn't like her to be brought back by Raish. I feel like they shouldn't abuse the Lazarus Pit in, you know, the TV show. I didn't really even like, I thought the whole Alfred thing, I really didn't like that Alfred got stabbed. I really didn't like that Alfred got a little bit of the Lazarus waters on him, but I can drop it a little bit. But I don't want them to abuse the pit. I really don't like the pit being abused, especially if Barbara's going to be brought back by Raish. It's like, why would Raish bother doing that? But either way, if she's working with Raish initially, then fair enough. But supposedly she will then find her way to Tabitha and then Selina. And supposedly, this sort of leads me into my next bit. Selina will be the stitch between Tabitha and Barbara, because of what happened last season. Now, from what Tabitha says, or the actor who plays Tabitha, about, you know, will she be best friends basically again with Barbara? And not exactly in her words, but she did say that even if they did kind of get back together, which they kind of will, it's been teased that way, she won't be the lackey. She won't be taking orders from Barbara again. She will be holding her own. So even if they are a team again, which will basically be the case, you know, it'll be Selina, Barbara, and Tabitha, and, you know, Selina being stitched between the two, Barbara won't be giving orders to Tabitha this season. That's not going to be happening. They might be equals, or Tabitha might be even the one above. But either way, Barbara's going to be less crazy. Tabitha won't be taking no shit from Barbara, and Selina will be the stitch between the two that kind of makes them stay together without blowing each other's brains out, like Tabitha basically did to Barbara, or should I say electrifying her brains. And in some really cool, exciting news, if you appreciate this, Ben McKenzie is writing an episode this season. That's really cool. He directed an episode or two before in Gotham, definitely last season. I don't know if it was just one, I can't remember. But he will be writing an episode as well, and it will be one, it's primarily about Raish, and the episode he is writing is called The Demon's Head. Now that must be such, I mean, I would love to be Ben McKenzie and writing that, because that must be such a cool episode to write, The Demon's Head, and for it to be primarily about Raish. It might go into some backstory, who knows, but like, I would love to pour my own ideas into that and do that myself, so I'm very jealous of you, Ben McKenzie. But anyway, it involves, the way Ben McKenzie described it in this video interview is that it involves this dark mentorship of sorts happening like unbeknownst to Bruce. And they also added in the words like in how Bruce is being groomed by Raish. So even though Bruce, especially from what happened at the end of last season, won't really want much to do with Raish, they will still be having a lot of interaction. Bruce might be giving him the hand, but there's still this dark mentorship of sorts. Even if Bruce isn't aware of it, Raish will be influencing him. He will still have this mentorship over him, even if Bruce doesn't want that, or if he thinks that he's the one in control. But really, Raish will probably be the one in control. And as Ben McKenzie said himself, and Alexander Siddig, he is being groomed. Bruce is being groomed by Raish, whether he knows it or not. And the last thing I want to talk about in today's video, because this is quite a long video, as it is, guys, is that, you know, the Riddler, you know, and what does Corey have to say about the Riddler getting off ice, or getting out of the ice that he's in the iceberg lounge? He said it's going to mess up his trajectory, and he isn't going to operate in the same way. So he needs to find a new path and a new identity. Now, this kind of bothered me a bit, but I don't know if I'm taking it so literally. When he says he's going to find a new path and a new identity, how much does he mean that? I don't know if he's trying to throw people off like myself, but when he says new identity, I hope to God that that doesn't mean that they got to completely throw away the Riddler name, because why would he say he's going to, you know, his trajectory is going to be all messed up, he's going to, you know, be getting out, he's not going to operate in the same way, he's going to need to find a new path, a new identity. Well, please don't let that mean that you're not going to be the Riddler, and it's going to be a load of, you know, filler episodes of the Riddler not being the Riddler and trying to find a new identity, but ultimately ending up being the Riddler again, but a new and improved version. No, I'd rather him just be the Riddler. But maybe, and I hope that he means that he's still the Riddler, but he's still honing that identity, and he's not going to go about it in the same way he did towards the end of last season. He's going to still be that guy, the Riddler, but it's going to be in a more specific way. It's a learning experience, it's a growing experience, being this villain role that he's stepped into. So he's still going to be the Riddler, I hope. But he's just him saying he's going to, you know, need a new path to go down and a new identity that he needs to find. I don't think he means it's going to mean a literal new identity. He's not going to replace the Riddler, because we all know that wouldn't happen anyway, but I just hope that doesn't happen temporarily. It just means that he's going to go about it in a new way, because it didn't really work so well with him last season. And that's because of one very obvious iceberg-sized question. Or should I say answer. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun talking about all this stuff. I'm going to try and do a video like what I did last year, everything we know about Jerome in Gotham Season 4. But I don't really want to make that one just yet. But I remember that video did well for me, and I probably have so much or too much to say about that. But I know this video was long, guys, but I know you diehard Gothamite fans got to this part in the video. So if you did, write down in the comment section below, I got to this part in the video. But anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate it if you did enjoy it, to hit that like button, as it really does help me out. It lets me know that you enjoyed this video, and it lets me know to do more things just like this. Share it to all your friends on Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media. If you want to never miss a video from me, be sure to hit that bell button to basically subscribe to sort of notifications. It's sort of double subscribing, so every time I upload a video, you will never miss it. Don't forget to follow me on social media and dive a little bit deeper into that BobaTalks family by following me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All the links are in the description below, guys. And I believe that says everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, guys. See you later.